Good morning, everybody. Happy Friday. It's October 4th, and I wanted to give y'all my view of the market conditions right now. One thing that I'm kind of looking at is the new monthly open and how the past sort of 6 months have given us this range chop that we've been in. There's a few different ways to look at the current market structure. You can look at it as for the past 6 months, right? Again, we pretty much topped off at the beginning of March. We're now pretty much here at the beginning of October. So April, May, June, July, August, September, and now beginning October. So that's approximately, 7 months or so that we've created this high to where we are right now. The way to look at the structure right now, in my opinion, is from the longer 6 to 7 month terms, and then the last approximately 1 month or so. For the last 6 or 7 months, we have a structure that is high, low, lower high, lower low, another lower high right there, and another lower low. Now, some people argue that this wick itself is more sort of leverage capitulation, so you don't want to count this wick. The reality is in markets, in my opinion, wicks should be counted and not just ignored. So I'm going to count this wick as a lower low. And even if you don't want to count that wick as a lower low, if you look at the closing of this candle right here, it is lower than the closings of these candles back here in July. So July here, August here, nonetheless, it's a lower low. Then we have another lower high. However, here we have a higher low and then a slight higher high, right? Excuse me. So what we have here locally is, from a structure perspective, over the last month, month and a half, you've had a slight change in structure because you've had a low, a higher low. This was the previous high, and this is now the higher high, right? So like I said, we wanted to divide the market into two different regimes, which is the larger regime of the past 7 months, which is clearly a downtrend, and the local month, month and a half regime, which is a slight uptrend beginning, potentially. Can this last month and a half change this past 7 months? Yes. Has it changed it yet? No. Right. And the reason why it hasn't changed it yet is the defining lower highs, okay, which is this final low that was put in because of this high. All right. So this is how you want to generally look at markets. You want to look at the last huge leg down that was created by the high in the market, which means that this low that was created in the market was because of this high, right? Because clearly the sellers came in here and they were extremely powerful and they sold this market down all the way to a $49,000 level, which means that to overcome the pressure of this selling, you must actually break this high. So you can basically put all the sellers underwater, or maybe prove to the market that all the selling that took place here is done and the market is now ready to traverse higher than that, which means that you have to actually get above this level. And then we could make the argument that the market has now fully changed structure. Until then, it is in the making of a new structure. And in the making of that, right, in the making of this last, month and a half or so, anything can happen. Could we go up here and shoot higher? Yeah, that's possible. But it's still an assumption that we might go higher. The bigger and better, more safer assumption is that the market is still in the sideways range with a heavier probability that it may still break down because we have not cleared this high. Okay, so I want to make that clear first and foremost because, like I said, in larger context of things, we're still in this very, tight consolidation, as you can see on a weekly basis for the past 6 or 7 months, right? More often than not, I've seen this kind of structure before, and it reminds me of two different things: the structure back here in 2019, as well as the structure back here in 2018. Two different structures, okay, which are kind of this, we call it like this descending triangle structure. And, prior to the descending triangle, it's also important what kind of structure it was. So this was an uptrend that led to this descending triangle, right? Which again broke down. This was also prior to that, prior to this descending triangle, this was an uptrend, which again broke down and then broke up, right? In my experience of markets, especially in Bitcoin for the past 8+ years, whenever BTC creates this kind of this descending triangle structure, and the prior structure to that was this uptrend, more often than not, BTC breaks down and then begins its uptrend. Okay. So in my opinion, I do believe that higher probability is that we may first break down and then break back up. Okay. But again, it's not necessary. It's not always that BTC does that. It's just that it does it more often. All right. So I want to make that clear. Aside from that, let's look at the altcoin market, right? Because the altcoin market is also very telling. Some of the more stronger assets over the past, let's just say, few months, especially since August or so, the strongest asset we know in the altcoin world is Solana, right? And Solana is, for the past, since beginning of August, is down about 24%. Other assets like SEI and FTM and TAO and SUI are up quite significantly. The delta between a negative 24% Solana and a SEI or FTM and a TAO and a SUI, they're quite vast, right? So that means that you have a new regime in the market, new potential leaders, new horses that are kind of leading the cabal, if you will. So what does that tell us? Well, it tells us that we need to look at new leadership in the market. New leadership, like I said, TAO. TAO on a structural basis, again, has gone up quite significantly. Okay. Once it goes up this much, right, it's forming a bit of a range here. Okay. Once that range either clears the high, we know that TAO is at least set for new highs. And, say what you may about AI and TAO in general. I do think that TAO is headed up much higher. Again, that's not financial advice. Sitting at 500 and some change. And if you actually look at TAO's market cap, I think it's like 3.5 billion, if I'm not mistaken. Sorry, close to 4 billion, right? 4 billion for an asset that is extremely AI/crypto, heavy, or rather, one of the best assets that are in the crossroads of AI and crypto. I think that's a steal because there's so much trash that's out there that has significantly higher market cap. I think BitTensor, in my opinion, should be valued much, much higher. And again, that's not investment advice, but I'm telling you that I'm loading up big on TAO, and I've already created my starter position at an average of approximately $500. So I'm not in super early. It's not like I got in at 150 or 200. I'm just entering the market of TAO here at this 500 approximately market cap, $500 price, and 3.8 billion or 3.9 billion market cap level. Okay, so that's number one, right? TAO. The strength of TAO, the strength of altcoins is going to be important. I don't want to discount the strength of Solana too, because in my opinion, I think Solana still kind of dictates the overall sentiment, the money flow, and the largesse of, whether it's VC funds or large traders. Solana still dictates that kind of market sentiment, right? Because not only are a lot of people in Solana, but the reality is Solana has probably the bulk of the usage nowadays for retail, whether it's pump fund or NFTs or DeFi, gambling, what have you, or simply even trading. Solana trades a significant bulk of the volume. And so if Solana is looking weak, right, which again, in my opinion, it is. Same thing with BTC, like I showed you guys, right? These kinds of descending triangles, like after you have this kind of run up, more often than not, I do see it breaking down. Okay. Prior run up, descending triangle, breakdown, right? Again, BTC right here, prior run up to this, to a descending triangle, expecting a breakdown. Okay. So where does that put Solana, right? Why did I bring that up? Well, in my opinion, I think Solana is in a very similar, technical analysis structure, which is prior run up, descending triangle consolidation. I think it's going to break down. Wherever it breaks down, it's going to begin its big uptrend into probably later this year or early next year. And again, in my opinion, I think Solana is going to go much higher, but not at this moment. Again, non-investment advice. Okay. So Solana, BTC, and the leadership like TAO and SUI, I think the market is coming into this larger crescendo phase where for the past few weeks, right, pretty much since the bottoming in August, you have effectively a market that has marked the bottom and has gone up for 8 weeks straight almost. And now I think it's a cooling off period coming in. And I think that cooling off period is going to come in a few different ways. Number one, I think these alts like SUI, TAO, say FTM, and even Solana, they're going to have pretty decent pullbacks. But I think it's going to be slow and controlled pullbacks. I would figure headed into the election, which is about approximately a month away. I think the market is going to pretty much go into pullback consolidation mode till then. And I would argue that it has already begun, right? I think, for example, say can go back all the way to the 30% level, and I think it's gonna, do this kind of number all the way until the election. The election, I think, is November 5th, if I'm not mistaken. And then, after that, I think market bottoms and then, that kind of thing, right? Same thing with Solana. Like I said earlier, same thing with TAO, which again, new leadership, in my opinion, is telling us that the market is in a consolidation mode, but the leaders themselves, they've moved up a substantial amount. And I think you're going to have some chop here and there headed into, November and stuff. Maybe expect $350, $400 or so. And then I'm expecting some sort of breakout, after the election and stuff, right? So that's my overall thesis, on the market, which is I believe that the market is in a consolidation mode headed into probably the rest of the month. I think we're going to consolidate, especially on strong assets. And TAO, by the way, is one of my favorite altcoins. And I would probably say like you don't have to be that price sensitive to TAO. But if you do get, I don't know, anything under 500, like I think this block right here, okay, the way I would do it is I would focus on this little area right here. This area right here. All right. That's between 350 to 400, let's just say. Okay, so let's mark that up. 50 to 400. All right. That little block right there is probably going to be defended really, really well. And, when I say 350 to 400, like, we have a sharp dip to like 300? Yeah, it's possible, but I just mean like the bulk of the time. And this level, I think the zone right here is probably going to be maintained. pretty strongly. So I would figure something like that head into end of the year after election and stuff is going to be really, really of interest for a lot of buyers. Okay. So just keep that in mind, headed into the next month or so. All right. Um, from a monthly candle perspective, I think again, consolidation period right here, but I personally think we're going to have maybe one more drop into October and November. Is it necessary? No. But I think regardless, alts and BTC probably go into some sort of consolidation. So probably keep that in mind. Q3, this is how Q2 ended, or sorry, Q3 ended. This is how Q4 has begun. Um, it's a very unique sort of area for BTC because this candle right here, we call it a hammer candle. However, after a hammer candle, like ideally what you want to see is for the strength of price action to start guiding upward fast, right? The quarter is long, right? You have 2 months and 28 days left in the quarter. So anything can happen between now and then. Okay. Could we go back to this low by a November and then shoot up? That's also possible. Bitcoin has a very unique way of doing something like that where in the midst of the quarter, right, it may go all the way down to like 45, 40K. And then by the end of the quarter, it damn near could be like at $80,000. So just something to keep in mind. Right. Now, here's my unique take. While all this is going on, right? While all this is going on with the consolidation of the majors like Bitcoin and Ethereum, um, you know, things like TAO and SEI and Solana and stuff. I think the market is still going to be looking at unique areas um, to basically fire off some money to get people's interest still in certain pockets of the market. Like one of my takes is that certain altcoins, and again, I'm just speaking my own book, right? Meaning this is stuff that I've either own a little bit or I have a large stake in or I find interesting because I want to buy some more or I want to buy some at all. So whether it's things like SPX 6900, which is again total meme coin, right? I think the market still finds interest in meme coins. Like, perfect example is on a day like the last 2 or 3 days where the market has really been consolidating or going down. BTC the last 3 or 4 days has just been going down. Say, for example, for the last couple of days has been going down. Solana for the last few days went from damn near 160 to 135, right? Same thing with TIA. TIA has been going down. TAO, tighter consolidation, but nonetheless, it had a pullback. SUI, same thing. Tagged $2, went back to almost 160. Point is, in the last few days, as some of these assets in the markets have gone down, an asset like SPX 6900, obviously much smaller in market cap, has put in, okay, has put in approximately a 75% move, right? Again, I understand this is a meme coin and I understand it's much smaller market cap, so I can do that. But the point is that you don't get bids in a meme coin when the market is completely risk off. Meaning, if people are scared to buy, if they're scared to bid, if the money itself is really going into stable coins more so rather than meme coins, you're not going to see that kind of move in, a big asset, a big meme coin asset that is like SPX 6900. So it's stuff like this that makes me think, is it possible that in a way we have a consolidation and a pullback in coins like SUI and TAO and TIA and WorldCoin. By the way, WorldCoin is also one of my unique picks. I think it's a very, very interesting asset because it's all about like the retina scans or whatever, which creates, blockchain digital IDs, really, really different, unique stuff, right? So I kind of like to focus on things that are not the consensus play. Like everybody knows Solana is clearly a consensus play, right? Last cycle, Solana and Matic and FTM and Polkadot and BNB, these are all consensus plays in 2021. I don't think that that'll be the case this time around. I think it's things like WorldCoin that are truly different, things like TAO, which are crossroads of AI and crypto, that are going to be the leaders of the market probably for 2025. So again, I'm talking my book because I own some WorldCoin and I own some TAO, so not investment advice, but that's how I'm thinking of the world going into 2025 and 2026. In the current market regime, what I see is for the next foreseeable month or so, maybe keep an eye on the consolidation pullbacks in these assets like TAO and WorldCoin and SUI and Solana and stuff. But at the same time, keep your mind open to bigger market cap assets that are in the meme coin area, because clearly meme coins have created this staying power, this resilience, right? Especially if your meme coin is above 50 or 100 million, like it's not just going to rug and it's not just going to go to zero. Okay. Again, non-investment advice, it could. But, once they have breakout momentum, like let's just say a meme coin gets above 50, 100 mil, they start shooting towards 300, $400 million pretty damn fast, right? So SPX 6900, Solana obviously has its own um, bigger cap assets like Dogwood Fat, currently trading at 2.19 billion. Some people think it's going to be valued much higher. Is it possible? Yeah. I don't know if it's going to go much higher, but you know, I understand people's perspectives on that. Popcat, same thing, right? Currently trading at approximately 1 billion valuation. So the point is that it is entirely possible that some of these assets, which have been trading close to $1 to $2 billion, they could have their next big moves, right? Mudang, again, another meme coin that came out, less than a month ago or so, went from pretty much zero all the way up to 350 million, pulling back to 150 million, right? So these are some of your assets that you may want to keep in mind. A new one is Manu. Again, I'm not talking and telling you to buy these meme coins. I'm telling you, like, this is how the landscape is shaping out to be. So if you want to pay attention to areas of the market that are going up, right, this is kind of where some assets and money is being focused and directed towards. Okay. Ethereum, same thing, right? I think there's some, meme coins in Ethereum, like people have been talking about 3 Arrows Capital, whatever. Again, do your own research and all this stuff, because in my opinion, like 99% of this stuff is, garbage and it can actually go to zero. Like it can go to zero pretty damn fast. Pochita, which is, sorry, that's the wrong Pochita. There's a bunch of different Pochitas and, Nero. I told my community actually about Nero, like, I don't know, when it was like 50 mil or 40 mil. Now it's at 400. So that's a nice solid 10x. Um, yeah, so there's all kinds of stuff that's out there. Whatever your flavor is for meme coins, that's up to you to do research. There's going to be stuff, whether it's in the DPIN area like XNet, which in my opinion is a very, very unique asset in the DPIN space. You have a lot of stuff in DPIN, whether it's XNet to Helium, currently trading close to $1 billion, if I'm not mistaken. Um, this one right here, HNT, right? So $1.2 billion is its market cap. So there's definitely good stuff out there that can be your flavor. And it doesn't have to be meme coins. and it doesn't have to be majors, but you have to find out what you think is going to happen to your specific sector of the market, within the realm of, the next 1 to 2 months or so, as the market becomes a little bit more careful and cautious because of election, consolidation, whatever you want to call it. Okay. So yeah, that's my overall thought process, or what I think is going to happen with the market. I'm still sort of expecting, Dune base chain. Like, one thing I'm definitely surprised by is how much lack of activity or users and stuff has been taken out of the base network. I think the base chain really, really needs to figure out, how it's going to pull back people and users and volume and revenue. Definitely struggling a little bit, but nonetheless, like I think its connection with Coinbase, how easy it is and how fast and cheap it is, I think is going to be definitely an area of the market you want to be paying attention to. And I think is going to do extremely well in the future. A position I have in decent size is DGen. I think DGen is going to do, great in the future. I don't know how to value an L3, to be honest. But do I think it's going to do well? Probably, right? So DGen, the token, definitely keep that in mind. Not investment advice. I already own a position, so don't copy trade me. But other than that, I think the great thing is Base is in this very initial stage of the market where not only is the market in general in consolidation mode, right? But after the election, as the market turns up, something unique like Base Chain is probably going to bring in people and bring in money and users, and you're going to get to buy in early in some of the more unique projects that are out there. Things could be extremely cheap, and there's not a lot of people on base chain. So you could be one of the first, few hundred or few thousand that get in on positions. So that's just something to keep in mind, like why you should explore areas of the market that are really not that explored. Okay. Um, as you guys know very well, I started Roaring Kitty. Sorry, not that one. What the hell is this? I started Roaring Kitty, the meme coin, right? And it's been a grind for the past 4 months, right? Even currently sitting at 64K, we've had a lack of, in general, lack of buying and volume and users and stuff. And the Roaring Kitty narrative was not going that well. But for a coin sitting at 64K, for our community, which is still extremely active, we're still doing a lot of stuff on Twitter. We have, a tried and tested market that has, shown that the dev, who is myself, has not rugged. Um, we have a solid meme base. We're extremely active in base communities. We're doing our best to continuously, give people rewards and, post and give people the opportunity to earn tokens and earn money. Like this is the kind of stuff that you want to pay attention to, coins like Roaring Kitty, because with a strong, holder base, we have, a 64K market cap, 22K locked liquidity, a clean website with shit ton of memes. Like I think over 1,000 different memes, if I'm not mistaken, and a pretty active Twitter feed and an active Telegram group. Right, this is the kind of stuff that you want to be watching as early, projects and opportunities in the base chain. Okay, so that's my outlook on the market. Um, I do think that things will probably improve after the election. But it doesn't hurt to start focusing and doing research on stuff that you want to buy now. Okay. So good luck, everybody. Take care. Let's see how things pan out over the next, month or so. All right. Cheers.